Hello, and welcome back to Not a Serious Sports Show. I'm Joni.
And I'm Zuzu.
Sports news, but make it gossip. And
Yes.
as always, we have the goss for you this week. We like to start out here with our favorite fit, where we recognize generally a man of the week who has excelled in his fashion game. And this week, I'm doing a repeat, actually, Zeus. This is someone who you have recognized before. Cleveland Browns player Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who I think if we were going to give an overall award for every look of the week, taking it all into account, this man would already have it locked in. His fashion is
He's like a
impeccable.
best dressed shoe-in.
Absolutely. So he generally does looks that he is of Ghanaian descent, and he normally does looks that have are inspired by that. And at first glance this week, I didn't think it was, but I just love the silhouette of what he's wearing. He's got this kind of like tracksuit material, windbreaker 90s material, dark navy, head to toe sweatsuit, and then it's got like a sailor cap and sort of a sailor silhouette. But then upon closer look, so it's actually it's supposed to represent the experiences of sailors who stayed at sea to connect with their African heritage and the African diaspora. And I was blown away by the commentary on it, but it's also just a really cool look. And he's paired it with this big duffel bag, and it looks incredibly chic and fun.
I love this. And, the deeper meaning aside, like that is such a beautiful like symbolism and a beautiful way to like express yourself through fashion. But even with the deeper meaning, like aside, it is such a stunning look. It's like
It is.
he always delivers these incredibly theatrical and like just like I want to say like stage like outfits where they're almost like
Yes,
border on costume, but they're still like fashion, like they're haute couture,
because
like
they're elevated.
yes,
And
it's like elevated, and that bag is just like such a perfect accessory because it's like it really is giving like elevated like sailor's bag.
I
Sailor's
should have
bag.
I should have looked it up. The bag kind of reminds me of like a Dior design. I don't know who it's by, but I'm loving the whole look that he's pieced together. And again, fashion with a message is always appreciated. It looks so good.
And it looks comfortable.
It does.
Which is always
It's a
something
nice
I love.
it's a nice reminder too that again this is African inspired, and that can look like a range of different ways. And if you look at his game day fits every week, it's a really nice spread of that. It takes us through a lot of different journeys that are all inspired by his Ghanaian heritage, which is so cool.
Yeah. And he, like, so many people, I think, if they tried this outfit, it would wear them. And he is wearing it. So hats off to my man, Jeremiah.
A fashion king.
Truly. And my pick of the week for outfit of the week is Kyler Murray. He rolled up to, so he is a Cardinals player, and he rolled up to the game in this. Okay, so this
It's beautiful.
I'm gonna say it's like cotton candy, like it's an elevated cotton candy winter look. So he's wearing this like puffer jacket that's like pink and like baby blue, baby like aqua, pink frayed denim shorts, and a pink beanie. And honestly, this immediately caught my attention because like it is directly my color palette that I'm obsessed with. And it's also giving a little bit of like, I don't know, like cotton candy fantasy, like unicorns in my head, and also like Furby. I don't know what it is. Like all these things are speaking to me, and I'm entranced. And I couldn't find out who made the outfit or where it's from, but I did see people very rudely posting on Twitter about his outfit, and someone compared it to a Trix, like the 2-color Trix yogurts, which I think is extremely rude. But also, not inaccurate.
It's not wrong. I'm wondering if this is like a new color palette for men, because I think like one of the first weeks I did a fit that was the same type of these like very fun pastel pinks and blues mixed together in silk. And so I'm wondering if maybe this is an up and coming trend, men in their tricks cotton candy era.
I'm here for it. And also,
Same.
historically, pink has been a color associated with men, which people
Yes.
tend to forget because toxic masculinity. So
I think people don't know it's been erased. Its history as a color it was originally invented for men.
But honestly, this is like a cotton candy delight, and it's also like, if anyone remembers the Charlie the Unicorn sketch, it kind of gives me that color palette, and that is a delight to my eyes and my memory.
It's drawing on a lot of nostalgia. We've got Tricks, we've got Charlie the Unicorn. Delightful.
We got Furby, we have Cotton Candy, we have California Girls featuring Snoop Dogg.
Featuring Snoop Dogg. Not to be confused with the NFL Monday Night theme song. I am also featuring Snoop Dogg.
If I have to hear Chris Stapleton yowl into the microphone one more time, I will probably have nightmares for the rest of my life.
It's a lot. We've discussed that, but it's a lot. So in continuing on talking about fashion, we are going to move into our stats-free sports news, but stick within the fashion realm because we're going to talk about the My Cleats, My Cause. We've talked about NFL, what do you want to call them? Not volunteer, like
they're like charity awareness campaigns regarding charitable causes, and this is another one of them.
Yeah, so we kind of took to task their military not outreach. God, I am blanking. Their military.
It was like a military celebration for Veterans Day where they wore those god awful UPS style sweatshirts on the sidelines.
Their salute to service. I don't know why I couldn't bring it to mind, but basically the things that they do around exemplifying the military, raising awareness for. But I actually really like this project, which is My Cleats, My Cause, Fashion for Good. And it is this program where players and coaches get to raise awareness for any cause of their choosing, any organization of their choosing that they find important. And they do it through these customized cleats. So they design really cool, iconic looking cleats, and then they auction them off in service of that charity, whatever charity they're supporting.
Yeah, they've been doing ads for this during like Sunday night, Monday night games, and it's a really good idea, and I think it's a really nice way for players to like individually support causes that are individually that I guess are close to their heart versus like, generic things like service or children's charities. Like this is like a way for them to really like passionately display what they care about. And some of them have been like so heartwarming. I forget the player's name, but it's the main commercial where he talks about being adopted and how that like changed his life, being raised in a like loving family. And I mean, I saw it the first time and I cried. Like it was very cute.
I love the other one that is also one of the commercials is, again, I don't know who it is because I wasn't planning on bringing it up, but he talks about it, a charity for women who have been victims of domestic violence because his mother experienced that. And I think, like you said, it's so wonderful that they're able to pick whatever is closest to their heart, and it doesn't have to be something that is like necessarily palatable or marketable to the entire organization writ large. It can just be whatever they want it to be.
And I will say this, like, to fundraise very effectively,
as someone who knows, this is her job. This is her job.
Like one I guess big way to reach out to people and like get people interested in the charity that you're working for or supporting is to share a personal story. And I think this is a really good way for these athletes to share their personal stories and sort of tell you why this charity that they're supporting matters to them. And I think that's really nice because, again, I think it makes it more personal, and I think it makes people, feel compassionate towards this cause on a personal level, but like gives the cause a face. But also, I think it's like a really nice way to learn more about these players and understand what their background is and what they care about. And they're making all this money and they have a platform, and now they're finally able to sort of use it.
Yeah, and it's a way, like you said, it's a way to, it humanizes them a little bit. They are professional athletes, but they all have these, their own unique stories and things that they want, that the community's causes that they want to support. And it's a very wide variety. A lot of them are, I think like half of them are health related, different cancer organizations, diabetes. I saw one for diabetes. Susie, maybe you could buy those cleats.
Oh yeah. I mean, as long as it's not Nick Jonas selling them, then I am A-okay with that. Also, a quick question about these cleats. I assume they are not worn.
No, they are. I don't know. The whole point is
because they're gonna get some weird people to bid on these, but at the same time, it might drive the prices higher.
Yeah, perhaps you could like ask for that for an extra through $100,000.
It's like no one, and if you wear it, I'll pay $2 million.
extra. I think that it's, again, like a lot of them are health charities, but there's also things for like youth wellness and mental illness and sex trafficking prevention, support for single parents. It's really all across the board, which is cool. And I think that the shoes, they put a lot of thought into them. You can tell, most of them, you can tell that like they would be, if you had the money, they would be a cool collectible.
Oh, absolutely. To have. And think about like, this is what straight men do. Like they don't have like makeup or like limited edition like Baby Yoda eyeshadow palettes like I do. This is their Baby Yoda eyeshadow palette. Like this is like collectibles. Like that's their thing. So
it absolutely, that is such a good analogy. And it is. It's, who wouldn't want to have a, beautifully designed, one of a kind cleat for your collection that also supports a good cause. It's a great idea. And some of the players are using it for like their own charities. Patrick, his cleats are for Patrick and the Mahomies, which is his local charity in Kansas City. That's Travis Kelce. Yeah, I know. Travis Kelce has 87 and running, which is, it's also a youth charity in Kansas City. And I'm like, some Swiftie is going to snap those up. Those are going to be auctioned off to a follower of our Lord and Savior, Taylor Swift.
I shudder to think how much those will go for.
I would be surprised if they weren't one of the highest
top selling items. Yeah. Who's the player that has a grant with King Charles III?
So that's what we're going to talk about. So the one of the more interesting, in my opinion, cause for my cause, my cleats, my cause is the one that's being done by Aiden Durd. I think that's how you pronounce that. He is Durd. He's an interesting story. He is he's a former linebacker, but he played American football in England. And then he was on the practice team for the Panthers and the Chiefs. And then is now a defensive line coach for the Cowboys. He's also big in their international player pathway program. Since he is a Brit, he is an international man himself. So he's been responsible for bringing like people like Jordan Malata into the league. He goes and picks out players from abroad. Anyway, so this dude, My Cleats, My Cause is a group called, what is it? Big Kids.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Big Kids. And he is promoting that. It's a London nonprofit, and it is one of King Charles III's charitable organizations. It's part of his charitable fund.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if that doesn't entice you, he has a much more palatable person behind him, which is.
So I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I only know about this because of the Idris Elba of it all.
Yes. Much more real British royalty behind him. Yeah. So Aidan Durd teamed up with Idris Elba, and they talked about the Cleats, but then also visited the program Big Kid in London. And so what it does is it is also a youth organization, very popular, I guess, with athletes to inspire and support youth. But it's specifically for like keeping people who are at risk for social inclusion and youth violence occupied and to have positive programs. They use American football as a way to do that, place to create community, help build leadership. But the Cleats, because the organization is particularly interested in knife crime in the UK, the Cleats say, don't stab your future away.
Oh. Oh my God.
It's a little dark.
Oh, okay. So this is where I was a little worried about the Cleats, in the sense that I knew that there were going to be some Cleats that were not going to be cute.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you put domestic violence on Cleats in an
right,
appropriate
how do
way?
You personify fashion and, some of these causes. And I think maybe don't stab your future is not the best one they could have come up with. Like,
well, if you watch the
maybe
video,
just avoid the word stab to begin with.
Idris Elba thinks that they're sick, so he likes them. They have his stamp of approval.
I mean, God bless. I love that man. And the thing is,
Same.
Idris could pull that off.
Absolutely. I mean,
now imagine like someone else walking around with "Don't stab your future" shoes on. Okay, that's what's gonna actually happen.
It's certainly a bold statement, which again it's what we like in fashion. But I think it's interesting, the idea of American football being used in the UK as an outreach thing for kids, and this idea that it's going to help like boost their confidence and be something fun and different that they wouldn't get elsewhere. And again, for the NFL, trying to expand their reach globally, it's a win.
I mean, I know people when I lived in the UK who were like big NFL fans. Oh my God. Okay.
Are you looking at an image of it?
Yes. I mean, so they're not bad. The problem is I don't know, unless you're like, if your target audience is like Sweeney Todd and Jack the Ripper, like I just don't see how this wearing a sweatshirt that says "Don't stab your future" is going to deter people.
So is that like is that the tagline for the actual organization then? Okay, so it's not just something they came up with for the Cleats.
I mean, I think that whole organization could probably do with like a motto rebrand.
A soft rebrand, yeah.
Just a soft one. I just think that like it's a little, I don't know if that's what I want to be seeing on the metro in the morning.
I mean, it certainly speaks to what their charity's about. It gets directly to the point.
That's true. And you know what? I respect that. I will say that. They are completely addressing what they're about. So
they're not beating around the knife crime bush, as it were.
Well, on to... Speaking of knife crime. Well, we have a Taylor and Travis update, as well we might.
We always do. So Taylor was at Lambeau. She was at the Chiefs-Packers game. And unfortunately for my beloved Chiefs, the Taylor effect came to an end. They didn't win. They had won every single game that she had been at up until then. But I don't think we can really fairly blame Taylor for all the injuries and the terrible refereeing and the fact that, Green Bay just outplayed us. We were not looking too hot. It wasn't Travis's night.
I will say this. The night for me personally started off when I texted Joni and asked, is that Lil Wayne?
Who knew that he was a Packers fan? He's from Louisiana.
Yeah. And so he narrated like intro to the game,
Sunday
which
night. Mm-hmm.
that really, like, I knew we were going to be in for a wild ride. And I think one thing I will say for ESPN is that they have really cooled it with the Taylor cutaways.
They have.
And by that, I mean, it's instead of having 35 a game, they had like 12. Okay, but like, you know, it's for them, I was very proud. Like, it wasn't excessive and they didn't make too many puns. And I think they're realizing they like kind of blew their load, so to speak.
So,
excuse me, pardon.
To use an eloquent turn of phrase,
as Voltaire would say.
I think you're absolutely right, though. They received the message from social media, or they ran their own think tanks and realized that people were getting a bit annoyed with it. I personally loved it. I didn't think there was enough Taylor, frankly, on Sunday Night Football, but I do understand. And I'm very glad that the annoying puns are gone. They did make some love story. That seems to just be like an easy one. Oh, well, also the Packers quarterback is love.
Yeah. I mean, I spend my whole days making, like, every time they're like, and love is looking for an opening. And I'm like, that is the next great Eurovision song right there.
I mean, as it should be. She was there, though, and she was in full Taylor attire. She was matching with her girl gang. There was all variations of like a red and black color palette. She was particularly matchy with Lindsay Bell, who is the wife of the other Chiefs tight end, because we've got Travis and we have Noah Gray, but the other tight end is Blake Bell, who's actually he's very hot. So look him up.
I will Google.
Yeah, but they were both wearing these like fluffy red coats with black turtlenecks and black pants. And I'm like, did they? It was so close. I'm wondering if they planned it, or did Lindsay Bell show up accidentally matching Taylor Swift?
I think it was an accident, because I can tell you, if I knew what Taylor Swift was wearing to the game, I probably would not try to do the same thing. For that reason.
What do you do if you show up accidentally matching Taylor Swift? Be like, okay, I'm going to run to Target and get something. And
yes, that's what I would do. I would probably, like, at that point, I assume you have assistants. I'd be like, get me the closest thing to a coat that they have.
I was going to say just get something like at the stadium stand, but they were obviously at the Packers, so that'd be pretty shitty.
That would be a little bit of a faux pas.
Sorry, honey, I had to buy a Love jersey because I was accidentally matching Taylor Swift. One person who really did like this outfit, though, is Elmo, the Muppet.
That is really cute.
He tweeted, "Call it what you want, but Elmo thinks that coat is so gorgeous."
Elmo, God bless. I'm surprised same. I'm just glad that was the angle he went with, as opposed to like, Elmo doesn't like that you used his cousin to make this coat, Taylor. So I'm glad that is the angle we went with Elmo. I loved it. I thought it was stunning, and I now am sure that searches
that's going to be everywhere.
Are going to be way up.
And I kind of want one.
Yeah.
Now, the same praise, unfortunately, cannot be extended to the outfit that Brittany Mahomes wore. You know, this is a pro Brittany Mahomes podcast. This is a Brittany Mahomes safe space.
We love her. But girl.
However, what the hell? This outfit, particularly the boots. The boots were the sticking point for me.
Yeah, they were like, for those who spared their eyes.
I was literally about to say, for those whose eyes have been spared.
They are, I mean, it's not like the most egregious thing, and I understand the reasoning behind them, but she wore these like black heeled booties that end in like the silhouette ends, it's like a stiletto that ends like a triangle, like almost like a
square, like
square. And it really does give, Joni said that it's giving Fashion Nova. It's definitely giving that. And
it's plastic, like it's not a continuation of the boot. It's like a plastic, like almost like a faux jewel, like a really, really cheap faux jewel look.
I wonder if that was her way of, like when you go to a wedding on the lawn and you have to put something on your
on
shoes
your feet.
so they don't sink into the pitch, like into the grass. Like, I wonder if that was like her trying to do a fashion version of that. But
I think
honey,
you're being
rich.
generous.
You're rich. Like, you can get some really nice chunky heel. You can get a wedge boot. You can do other things. You don't have to be on the grass. You don't have to be there. Like, that's for the pores.
It's not even Arrowhead. Like, you don't have to be down in the ground. Enjoy your box, honey. Wear some, fucking fabulous Jimmy Choo, like whatever.
Yeah,
just
whatever
not
the
these.
youths are wearing. Yeah. I mean,
what's
it was
cool,
definitely
kids?
a miss fashion wise.
Some Louboutins, are those still cool?
I think so, although they are painful. But then again, if she's
beauty is pain,
she doesn't need to be walking anywhere.
She doesn't.
But yeah, so maybe like Taylor Swift has some really cute boots on her tours, so maybe like take a girl shopping, Tay-Tay.
Yes, share the love, share the wealth. That's okay. We still love you, Brittany.
We do. We do.
So Taylor has been spending a lot of time in Kansas City, apparently. I have never had so much FOMO for Kansas City. I used to live in Kansas City, and now I'm like, every time I see like she's been here, I'm like, I could have been there. Could have ran into Taylor.
Babes.
It could have been me. But so she and Trav were spotted with the Mahomeses and other Chiefs at this pop-up bar called Miracle in Kansas City. It's like they're doing it in different locations. They were seen at Power and Light, I think. They're doing it on the plaza too. And now I'm like, I want to go, but I wouldn't have probably been invited to that party. It was, I think, Chiefs only, and they were dressing up. And
I like how you said that, like, so seriously. You're like, well, I probably wouldn't have been invited, like
you don't know what kind of hustle I would be putting on if I were there.
That's true. I believe that you could have gotten invited.
The only thing keeping me from that invitation is the Mississippi River, is the land between us, the gap,
and that can be stopped.
It's absolutely true. We're gonna be there for like Christmas and New Year's, and my birthday is the day before. So I'm like, let's go to the day before New Year, and I'm like, let's go to the fanciest place and hope that we see Travis and Taylor there. So we'll see.
Take pics.
I'm channeling it into being. Also, Travis was seen at Trader Joe's, and I'm not exactly sure why, but people were convinced that he was buying snacks for Taylor Swift. I think because he got ice cream, and they're like, Taylor loves ice cream.
Okay,
and I'm like,
but like,
we all do.
So does every human.
So does Travis, presumably.
So every human also loves Trader Joe's.
This is true. It was my Trader Joe's, though. I was like, I could have been there.
I am just surprised, and I guess pleasantly surprised, that he does his own grocery shopping.
I agree. I thought the exact same thing. And also, if I was there, I would not have been able to maintain the level of cool. There's a video, someone shot a video of him like going through the checkout line and everybody just like being excited, but nobody said anything to him. Nobody like approached him or asked for an autograph. And then once he left, apparently the whole store like erupted.
I would have been screaming. Oh my God. I mean, I think I would have been the same way, where I think I would have been like,
you don't want to be the one person who's like making a big deal about it.
I think once he left, I would have like fallen to the floor and rolled around. So
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I would have never gotten over it. I would never shut the fuck up about the time I saw Travis Kelce at Trader Joe's in Ward Parkway. Oh, anyway, on to a very serious note.
Yes. This is truly, as someone who is House Targaryen, as someone who is Team Black and House the Dragon, this could have given me a lot of joy.
That's a Game of Thrones reference for all of you who are too young to know.
Yes, that's a House of the Dragon. Please watch; it's amazing. But anyway,
so
House
good.
Black, Team Black is. I won't even get into it. But the point is, there is a player who Joni and I have been identified a while ago as potentially belonging to House Targaryen and Team Green, who is Trevor Lawrence. But the thing is, to me, he's like
This is such a good coin. Suzu coined this, and I love
He's
it.
like a Tallahassee Targaryen in the sense that I'm like, oh, he's like the cousin that's not from King's Landing. He like lives in Tallahassee and like, but he's still a Targaryen. They just like they see him every few years and they're like, okay, Trevor, that's cute. Like, go put on your flip flops. Like, we have to wear like real shoes in King's Landing. Like, you can't just wear your flip flops to the Sept.
It's such a good read because he's very tall. He's got the long flowing blonde gold hair and sort of alkaline face, but he's not
the hair is a little bit more dishwasher blonde versus like platinum blonde, but he actually looks to me and I sent Joni a side by side. He looks to me so much like the actor who plays Aemond in The House of the Dragon, and
who was hot.
Who was very attractive, even with his sapphire eyeball. But it's like, he does really look like the Florida version of him.
I thought that you were going to read me when I admitted to thinking that Trevor Lawrence was hot, but I'm glad that we're on board.
I sadly was on the same page.
You understand.
For all the jesting about him being a Tallahassee Targaryen, I am
there's something about him
to him.
Yeah, I am too. There's something. I mean, and luckily he has not sustained an eye-ending injury.
Yes, he's only been lightly maimed,
slightly maimed so yeah, there was supposed to be the making. I saw this actually. I took from an article because I knew that you would enjoy it. It said, on a night that had all the makings of a coronation for the AFC's new #1 seed, and I was like, hashtag read Prince that was promised.
Yes. Oh my God. How did they know? But no, he very sadly had an injury right as the team. He's on the Jacksonville Jaguars, so that's why Florida Targaryen is so apt. But he had an injury towards the end of the game when they were tied, and they ended up losing. He was hobbled and had to go off field.
Yeah. So
I can only imagine that, the maester who's taking care of his ankle is giving him some milk of the poppy, and he will soon return via dragon back.
I was going to say, he will soon mount his dragon and return.
And that is not a euphemism.
And it is also, it is
also a euphemism.
Am I the dragon? So right now they're calling it a high ankle sprain, which it's hard to know what that means. Patrick Mahomes had a high ankle sprain last year.
I get a high ankle sprain every time I go outside. Okay,
my back has a high ankle sprain right now. But it's one of those things where you can come back from it like Patrick Mahomes did, but it can also be season ending. So we don't know right now. It's wait and see.
At the end of that game, they had a list of, first of all, they were extremely shady to his backup quarterback, whose name I cannot recall, but they were just like, has he ever been on the field before? And I was like, okay, well, this is rude. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up, and I know this is stats-free sports news, but these are some entertaining stats. They had a list of all the quarterbacks that had been injured in this last season of the NFL, and it was 8 people. It was looking like the House of the Dragon. It was a civil war.
It is the dance of dragons here. There is no one left alive, and that is sort of unique to football. Not that people don't get injured in other sports, but the intensity of the play, obviously the contact, that means that there are so many injuries that by the end of the season, how you manage injuries is actually an important part of gameplay and strategy, and you have to have a deep bench, so to speak, people that you can throw in there in these situations. And that's why it was so shocking that the Jaguars didn't win this game, because they were playing the Bengals, who don't have their quarterback because Joe Burrow. Yeah, exactly.
It really is the Dance of Dragons. Everyone is being eliminated left, right, center. And I will say, for all again, Tallahassee Targaryen trash talk, he's actually very good.
Yeah, he's
Trevor Lawrence,
and they're having a great season. And the Jaguars
he's even taller than Lee Pace, who is 6'5".
Oh man,
he's 6'6".
Damn, girl. Yeah,
So,
he's really fucking tall.
But anyway, best wishes to our prince. May you return to grace the field soon.
We will miss you. Now to pivot away from NFL, which we love, but want to talk a little bit about the NBA real quick. They're doing something kind of weird this year called a mid-season tournament. And I don't entirely understand. I know why they're doing it. They're basically trying to, the NBA has a long season. They're trying to increase viewership in this mid-season period. And so they're having an in-season tournament where if they win, like every player on the team gets $100,000 extra. And it's very like, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Is this some kind of like tontine, like if who the last person who stays alive get like a Hunger Games situation?
Yes, I mean we're in the middle of it now. We'll go through December 9th, I think. And so we will next week we can talk about like who's in the finals and all of that. But I'm just like, as an idea, I think it's a really interesting thing for a major sports organization to do, like to try. And so I guess I shouldn't be so shady about it. It's an interesting concept. I'm like, maybe though you could just like make the season shorter, or not play as many games if you're worried about it.
I still don't understand.
I don't know. They set up a mid-season tournament. So it's like you said, there's group play rounds, and then there's knockout rounds, and then there's final rounds. So it's sort of like a March Madness kind of tiered thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that's
so as it is, like there's the Lakers, Suns, Kings, Bucks, Knicks, Pacers, Celtics, and Pelicans, I think, are left in it. And then, so then there'll be semifinals. The finals on December 9th, and it's in Las Vegas. It's just something else for people to bet on and watch.
I think that's the real.
There's so many betting sites now that is definitely changing like the way sports are played.
And I think that might have something to do with why this is happening.
Yeah, that's a good point. They are also trying to get some celebrity involvement going on. They have this thing with Kevin Hart on ESPN. It's called Unplugged with Kevin Hart, and it's like him and his friends watching the mid-season tournament.
So it's kind of like People's Couch or something.
Yeah. It's like
that.
which they're doing right with like Monday Night Football with Manning cast.
I have a hard time watching that. It is like two potatoes in a field.
Yeah, normally the guests are the most interesting part, and I guess Kevin Hart is also having guests, and also Kevin Hart's a comedian. He's got
more charisma.
Yeah. I mean, we can hope.
No offense. I did enjoy it. It was just, it was a marathon, not a sprint. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. But yeah, I guess, I don't know, we'll see who wins, and I'm actually going to watch some of it next week. I haven't watched these games, but it's, I think like you said, I think it's probably mostly motivated by gambling, but it's interesting to see them like be like, well, we'll try this. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, it might be a hit.
We'll see. I'm gonna look up numbers about it as well. Anyway, that brings us to our favorite part of the week, which is our WAG of the week. Yes, when we talk about a wife or girlfriend in sports. And this week I had someone picked, and then I almost didn't do it, but I decided to do it anyway. We'll get to that. So it's, you know her as a pint-sized powerhouse, the most decorated gymnast in history.
But she's also a WAG.
She's also a WAG. In addition to her 7 Olympic medals, she's married to a football player. It's Simone Biles. She's married to...
My heart sang when I saw her.
at the Green Bay Chiefs game. Yeah, so she's married to safety Jonathan Owen. That's why I almost didn't do it, because I got really mad because Jonathan Owen pushed Travis Kelce at the end of the game when he was in the end zone and we were going for the Hail Mary. But I decided to be the bigger person.
Yeah, overcome your feelings and celebrate our gal Simone, because she genuinely is incredible in her own right. And that is kind of one of my favorite genres of WAG, is like someone who is a queen in their own field, who links up with like some, no offense to football players, but like someone who I don't know about, but is
it's like the Taylor Travis phenomenon. That's what makes it interesting. And she is like, as apart from being the most famous, the most talented gymnast in the world, she's also a presidential medal recipient for her work with raising awareness for sexual assault survivors, and particularly her role with the U.S. women's gymnastic team sexual assault scandal, and then also for the work that she's done surrounding the stigmas of mental health. She's a queen.
Yeah, she's incredible, and she is so cute. It's like, I don't know, like seeing her little like face made me so happy, because I knew that she was married to an NFL person, and I never bothered to like learn who it was because, I mean, no offense, but like it's not a name that I would have recognized anyway, right?
Yeah.
But so
he's
anyway,
a safety,
right?
Yeah.
And anyway, but like seeing her there was so cute. Like, it made me so happy to see her, and also just in general, like she was so adorable next to him. Like, she's just like so small, and
she's so
that like kid. It made my heart sing.
She makes him look like a legitimate giant. But they like showed them down on the field kissing, very cute. But yeah, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about their relationship for those of you who don't know, because I actually didn't know that much about it until I looked into it. So they have this, apparently before they actually met, they were in the same place together. They were at they were at a Texans game, and she's posing on the end zone and he's in the background, and she didn't realize it until years later when they started dating a couple years later. Isn't that, I love stories like that where your paths have crossed before.
It's kind of like it's meant to be, right?
It is. It gives it this feeling of destiny. And again, like all great love stories, they met because she slid into his DMs.
I love that so much.
It's the modern Shakespearean tale.
I mean, she truly is a queen, and like she is one of the best athletes out there, and it's so nice to see like people who are both like experts in their game be together, and like that's so cute. And I hope that he will be showing up for her when she goes to the Olympics.
Yes. So let me tell you this. He claims, or I cannot believe this, but he claims that he didn't know who she was.
Oh,
what?
Please. Sorry.
I'm like, he did go to like Missouri Western. Like maybe he didn't have a TV. Like he's, very small. I don't know. But I was like, that does not seem possible to me. How could you not know who she is? He said that's one of the things that she liked about him. Apparently.
That's like when people go on Real Housewives and claim that they had never watched the show prior to their appearance. Like, give me a break.
Football player swore to Texas Monthly that he hadn't heard of her before they started talking, but also said that's one of the things that she liked about me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he has since educated himself. Well, when she came up on his DMs, he's like, who is this person who has 4 million followers who slid into my DMs?
That would definitely be worth Googling. And I mean, I'm really glad to see that A, she's like out and about, but B, that she is going back to the Olympics because, as you remember, she had to step away because she had some balance issues, which I can't even imagine how terrifying that is. And so it will be really cute to see her at the Olympics, and then maybe Jonathan will,
with her man,
return the favor and be there looking cute for her on the sidelines.
Well, apparently he has educated himself about gymnastics, and he again, in the same article, he was talking about how she was quoted talking about how it's so amazing to watch and how he's developed this really deep appreciation for gymnastics and how it's so different to watch it in person than it is on television, which I think it's really like exciting on television. So I can only imagine how amazing it is to see Olympic level gymnastics live. But he is definitely a big supporter of hers, as she is of him. And like you said, it's cool when couple is they're both at the top of their field and supporting each other. She says that game day is her favorite day of the week. Like they're just, they're there to be cheerleaders for each other. They're sweet. Also extremely extra on Instagram, but in the best way. Like I love the way that they promote their love. They were married.
They're newlyweds.
Yes, exactly. And they got married twice. They had a courthouse COVID wedding, but then they had a super luxe beach wedding. It like the biggest floral background that you've like floral arch background that you've ever seen on this like white sand beach. Just very, very romantic, very luxe. I love it.
Well, Simone, you are a queen and an icon.
And I can't believe the Olympics are so soon. I did not realize that they're this summer.
I was going to say, I'm like, we're going to have our work cut out for us as official Olympic or correspondents.
Send me to Paris. Where's my press badge? Yes. Send us to the Olympic Village. Let us get an STD. Let us live our lives.
Get an STD. But yes, I am excited to see Jonathan be the WAG for her at the Olympics. So
you know he will be, girl. He's going to be.
I love that.
Supporting his lady. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. We have, as always, had a great week recapping, and we will be right back here next week to talk about all the juiciest gossip in sports.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.